subsequent interaction was recorded by the video camera on Insinia's dashboard and has been viewed in one form or another several million times on YouTube.
I'm in my car, but I have to put out my cigarette.
Well, you can step on out now.
I don't have to step out of my car.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
I refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Step out or I will remove you.
I am getting removed for a failure.
Step out or I will remove you. I'm giving you a lawful order.
Bland says she will call her lawyer. Insinia reaches into the car and says to her, "I'll yank you out of here." Bland tells him not to touch her and says she's not under arrest. He shouts that she is under arrest. At this point, Sandra Bland starts to record things with her cell phone.
Why am I being apprehended? You're trying to give me a ticket for your failure?
I said get out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm
just
giving you a lawful order. I'm going to drag you out of here.
So you're threatening to drag me out of my own car?
Get out of the car!
And then
I will light you up. Get out!
Wow.
Now!
Insinia has pointed his taser at Bland. She gets out of the car, but keeps recording.
Wow.
Get out of the car!
Really, for a failure to signal. You're doing all of this for
Get over there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go ahead.
A few seconds later, Bland turns off her phone as Insinia orders her to do. She was arrested and jailed. 3 days later, she committed suicide in her cell. The Sandra Bland case came in the middle of a strange interlude in American public life. The interlude began in the late summer of 2014, when an 18-year-old black man named Michael Brown was shot to death by a police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. He had just, allegedly, shoplifted a pack of cigars from a convenience store. The next several years saw one high-profile case after another involving police violence against black people. There were riots and protests around the country. A civil rights movement, Black Lives Matter, was born. For a time, this was what Americans talked about. Perhaps you remember some of the names of those in the news. In Baltimore, a young black man named Freddie Gray was arrested for carrying a pocket knife and fell into a coma in the back of a police van. In Minneapolis, a young black man named Philando Castile was pulled over by a police officer and inexplicably shot 7 times after handing over his proof of insurance. In New York City, a black man named Eric Garner was approached by a group of police officers on suspicion that he was illegally selling cigarettes and was choked to death in the ensuing struggle. In North Charleston, South Carolina, a black man named Walter Scott was stopped for a non-functioning taillight. He ran from his car and was shot to death from behind by a white police officer. Scott was killed on April 4, 2015. Sandra Bland gave him his own episode of Sandy Speaks.
Good afternoon, my beautiful kings and queens. I am not a racist. I grew up in Villa Park, Illinois, was the only black girl on an all-white cheerleading squad, so I had to learn how to deal with, and black people, you will not be successful in this world until you learn how to work with white people. But I want the white folks to really understand out there, black people are truly, we're doing as much as we can. And we can't help but get pissed off when we see situations where it's clear the black life didn't matter. For those of you questioning why was he running away, well, goddamn. Because in the news that we've seen as of late, you could stand there, surrender to the cops, and still be killed.
3 months later, she too was dead. Talking to strangers is an attempt to understand what really happened by the side of the highway that day in rural Texas. Why write a book about a traffic stop gone awry? Because the debate spawned by that string of cases was deeply unsatisfying. One side made the discussion about racism, looking down at the case from 10,000 feet. The other side examined each detail of each case with a magnifying glass. What was the police officer like? What did he do precisely? One side saw a forest but no trees. The other side saw trees and no forest. Each side was right in its own way. Prejudice and incompetence go a long way towards explaining social dysfunction in the United States. But what do you do with either?